Just set up. Nope, thanks. That's okay. Oh, what's this? Cover or something.
Right, I'm recording. Everything is live. Yeah.
All right, we got a quorum. All right.
Okay.
It asked me to run off a sheet on numbers, and I ran out of paper in the middle of it, so I only have 3 copies. But
I could share.
you two can
Yeah,
share.
we can share.
Okay. Maybe we can share here. Oh. I think it's the same one we saw in the budget and finance.
Oh, I was just looking to see if it could change.
Hmm.
I don't have my pad. I don't go back to one of these.
Yeah, I read the back usually. I have an agenda sheet. We must have picked even. Blocks are pretty close now. That you should go by. Hey. I saw something on the levy thing. I was going to ask you a question on. I got these next to me still. This here, I was reading through it because I wasn't at the meeting when we did it. It's near the end. Tell me if it's.
I guess 10 o'clock on the button here on Universal Time. So I'm going to call the special town council meeting to order for April 21, 2026. All members of the council are physically present with the exception of David Simmons. Approval of agenda. Council, I want to make 2 changes. Yes, I overlooked this when I put the agenda together, so I'll take credit for making a change. I want to flip flop new business. There's a reason for that. So we would start with new business first. Then we'd go to unfinished business, and the number in the event we would do 1, 2, 4, 5, 3. 1, 2, 4, 5, 3. And I'm going to move 3 to the end in case we have to go to executive session. Okay. So again, we're going to flip flop new business for unfinished business, and then the unfinished business that would be 1, 2, 4, 5, 3. Are there any other?
Move to approve the agenda as amended.
Second on the motion to approve. Thank you, Storm. Discussion. All those in favor of the motion to approve? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Okay, so we're now on discussion and action regarding Lane and Levy for FY27.
Public comment.
Yeah.
The first thing is public comment.
Yeah, I'm going to call for that.
Okay.
For land levy for 2027 general and coal fund, et cetera. Okay. Council, according to code, I'm going to call for public comment on laying the levy, and if there are any objections from the public or any official that are present, then we will have to deal with those objections before we make the official count or tally on the laying the levy. So I'm going to officially, and the minutes have to reflect this, Kevin, that I'm officially calling for public comment on the levy. Are there any public comment or official comments on the levy?
I looked when I was looking through all the attachments. There's one of the town council people are missing.
Oh, that was fixed.
Okay,
It was fixed.
okay.
No,
Shows you I read it.
yeah, good job.
All right, so hearing no public comment on the levy, I'm closing public comment at 10:02 a.m. Now, where do we go on this, Debbie?
Discussion and action regarding laying the levy.
Okay. Now we go discussion and action for laying the levy for FY 2027 general and coal fund.
Move to lay the levy as presented.
Is there a second on the motion to approve? Second from Jesse. Discussion on the motion to approve laying the levy. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0.
Does that have to be,
We can do a roll call.
roll call?
You can do the roll call. Yeah, I don't have it's not an attached.
Just to
document.
verify the vote, Kevin, I'm gonna ask the recorder to do a roll call.
Okay.
Chris,
Yeah,
I want to start with Chris.
I vote aye. Jesse.
Aye.
And Storm.
Aye.
Christian.
Aye.
I vote aye.
Aye. Motion still carries the same result, 6-0. All right. We done with that one, Debbie?
Mhm.
Okay.
You get
Now,
that?
unfinished business. Discussion action regarding website upgrade status.
Yes. So there is movement on that. We have reestablished contact with Revise, the vendor, receivable department, as well as the project lead. And they have laid out the course that we need to follow with the project to get it to completion. So this is Jesse and I are taking the lead. We'll be getting input from stakeholders about the elements of the website, and then contacting and then working with the folks at Revise. It'll be a number of weeks. Some of the work has been accomplished from the prior project lead, which was before Nina. So it's back on track.
Okay, great.
Oh, yes, and yes. We are in arrears with this account. That the way we signed the contract, they loaded all of the startup costs in with the ongoing maintenance costs. So we are currently one payment behind, and there will be another one due in a couple of months. But right now, I'm sorry, I do not have the number from me. Thank you.
4,090.
Yeah.
This week, I'm going to be sending out a note to all you folks in the committee chairs on the main boards and committees on the top of the website there. There's planning and the police department and all those guys to request a meeting with the chairs of those groups to have the discussion about what they want from the website, and based on what the feedback they provide, we'll try to implement some of those during the development process. Otherwise, they will just go in for future implementation.
You gonna meet in here?
There's no real, it doesn't need to be formal. I'm kind of hoping I can meet them one at a time at the coffee shop.
Okay. All
I'm
right.
gonna ask you a question. Is this gonna be like you're gonna work on the old one, or you're gonna have a new one built and the old one will be sitting here and then one day you'll switch it, or? I'm just
Essentially.
curious.
Yeah, so what happens is, in the simplest terms, yes, if we decide to change the domain name to harpersferry.gov, if we actually go that route, then the new site will go live, and 48 to 72 hours later, the old site will disappear from the internet. And if you type in that address, it will automatically redirect you to, but that changeover takes 2 or 3 days to propagate, and you leave the old one up. Just for people who have a latent connection and things like that. So it should be entirely seamless. This is a very standardized process. So I don't anticipate anything weird there. Once we push the button, it'll go.
And I'll add that the town council, the mayor, and the recorder are specific stakeholders as well. So once everything is ready for presentation.
And staff?
Yeah, absolutely the staff. I'm saying that for the benefit of the council, but absolutely the staff.
You guys are on a separate list than all the committees and commissions for contact about.
And committees and commissions.
Is there gonna be something with, tourism? I know it's not part of our committees and commissions here, but tourism is, I would think people would, who come to our town would like to look at something from our town.
It is one of the broader areas, with the design is envisioned. Exactly what it will be the results of outreach to stakeholders and ultimately town council.
Are you talking about the format and the layout of what it looks like, Christian?
No.
When you're talking, what are you talking about?
We're talking- I'm
Kind
talking
of
about
links to the tourism.
links and things, like a page for tourists to come, like where, something you need if when you're a tourist.
There's a whole visitors information
Visitors.
Yeah.
subsection that covers.
When we first were working with them, that was the first thing we did. We looked at the different town websites that they had done, and that was a common feature, of course. And the balance is between being so specific about things that you need to constantly update it. That can be a hassle, but still have enough that people who come to town will get the important information that they need.
And usually the way things like that are done is we'll once we are live and can dress things up, we'll implement a process
Yeah,
where people can.
We had some sidebar discussions at the tourism summit at the table, or at least I was involved in websites for tourists and other things as, as an emphasizing the importance and accessibility for visitors to the town. I don't know who I was talking with.
It was Secretary Ruby actually spoke to it specifically,
Yeah.
and she had a tremendous number of people who. There's a direct correlation between the number of visitors to a town's website and the amount of
That's right.
actual visitors.
And then the other thing with highlighting tourism and businesses, being careful, it is open to all equally. That is not appear that the town is specifically endorsing one thing or another.
Right. On this agenda item, that cheat sheet that Debbie held up for you, Storm, are we supposed to do something with that?
Yes. So now that we understand where we are and what the project is going forward and what we owe, I move to approve sending $4,090 to Revise for website setup and services.
Is there a second? Second, Chris, discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion to approve, opposed, motion carries 6-0. Discussion and action regarding Bolivar Harpers Ferry Historic Foundation 2026 funding request.
I'm recusing, I'm the treasurer of this organization, I have no direct stake in it. However, to avoid the appearance of impropriety, I'm recusing. Information is required upon request on the bill.
And also my wife's the president, but I'm gonna stay because I really don't know what's going on.
Okay. You have the right to do that. Okay. Chris, you got this one?
Yeah, I can speak to it briefly. This has gone through budget and finance, but for the fiscal year 26 budget, the foundation had requested $16,000 for, as you should see in the diagram there, for the basement floor and framing, sanctuary ceiling, and walls match. And that request was made for in hopes of getting grants, and the 16,000 would help in providing the match for the grants. Those grants were not received and were not successful. So they have revised their request. I should also say that the council last year did not approve the 16,000. Instead, it came up with that basically 8,800 approved amount. So, based upon the lack of success for the grant applications, they've come back. They would like to change the work that is being done on the fiscal year 26 money to the rundown that you see there for demolition, plumbing, and concrete in the basement. And based upon that, they are requesting payment of $11,766.95. So it's above the amount that was approved last year, but below their requested amount of last year. And they're also matching that request of the town with foundation's own money, membership and contributions. So.
And what did, go ahead, Debbie.
Can I add one thing too, that I've talked with, Ms. Bushkanis, and they are also concerned about not being able to complete all this by the end of fiscal 26. I explained to them that should that happen, they just need to come and let us know that they'll be carrying it forward into 27. We need a timeline associated with that. Then we can just adjust our carry forward balances to accommodate that.
Okay. What did Budget and Finance discuss about this?
We just looked at the amount and we did recommend that it be approved by the council.
The total 11,600.
Yeah, $11,766.95. That will enable them to go ahead and secure contracts this in the near future.
Okay. All right.
So
Go ahead, Chris.
I would move to approve payment to the Harpers Ferry Bolivar Historic Town Foundation, $11,766.95.
Can I just, rather than saying payment, can you say approve the fiscal 26 revised funding request? Because we're not gonna give them payment till they give us a, right?
Okay.
Invoices and stuff.
Yeah.
So advised council,
Revised
revised
fiscal
council.
26 funding request should be up to, so maybe say like 11,005 or something like that, make it an even round number.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I move to approve the revised funding fiscal year 26 request of the Harpers Ferry Bolivar Historic Town Foundation for $11,766.95 out of
906,
906.
historic preservation.
Okay, is there a second on the motion? Second from Christian, discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 5-0. Chris, could you send Kevin that motion that you made electronically to help him out?
Okay.
Okay, somebody brainstorm or we can leave it.
Wheelie map. Right, sleep in the chairs. We're done.
Perfect.
Hey, 1 second. I can go in here. I'm gonna put a microphone on my phone.
All right, number 4, discussion action regarding water works vehicle. We're gonna try to get Steve on.
All right, Steve's on the line and on my phone.
Okay, so this one's Waterworks vehicle?
Yeah, go ahead, Steve.
Okay, so our situation right now is that the truck is currently sitting over at Cars. It has a estimated $4,000 of work that would need to be done to get it back on the road. And the parts would not probably be available for another 2-3 months. So, question is whether or not this vehicle at this point is worth repairing, or if we should look for something else, or if we should go ahead and spend $4,000 to replace a couple of electrical control components that are shorted out.
Can I ask about the vehicle? You
Go ahead,
see,
Rick.
this is Christian. What year is this car and how many miles are on the truck? Or how many miles? Just a little bit about the vehicle.
Sorry, say that again, Christian.
Yeah, what
You wanna know a little
year's
bit
the
more?
vehicle, how many miles, and, what vehicle is it? I'm not familiar.
Yeah, okay, so first off, the vehicle that it is, it's the silver pickup truck. It's the smaller of our two, well, we have three vehicles. We've got the dump truck, we've got the white,
Right.
the white truck that is, Chevy diesel that we use to, that's got the toolboxes and, the towing capacity for towing the excavator. That was a vehicle that Ryan Slusher typically drove. And then we have the smaller but still a four-door pickup truck. And, that was basically just a general purpose, general use truck or vehicle. The mileage, I'm not totally certain. I think trying to think. I'm gonna say it's somewhere in 110, 120,000, but I really don't know for certain.
What year is it?
What year is it?
What year?
Mm-hmm.
I think you had said 2015 the other day.
It's what?
2015 wasn't it, Steve?
I think it's a 15. Yeah, I think it's 2015. Yeah, I think so.
Dodge, that's the problem.
We have put recently we put new tires on it. Larry seems to think that there's a little tick in the front, the main front bearing, but on the engine that he pointed the noise out to me. I can, what he's describing. I have not had cars, kind of really look at that or evaluate the overall. I'm going to say the overall condition of the vehicle. The fellow I spoke to at Cars did not seem to be, like optimistic that this vehicle ever was it wasn't. Didn't sound like it compares to in terms of longevity and all the rest to some other brands of vehicle. It's
The notoriously awful vehicle.
Yes, they are.
What
And they
The
still
Dodge
are.
Ram.
Dodge Ram, they're terrible.
it's
So-
it's a Ram 1500
So Steve,
gas.
the last cars bill that I have from 2023, December, says that the mileage was almost 105,000.
Okay,
2023.
all right.
Wow. What's it used for?
I'm going to say general purpose, transportation. When I had, kind of the full staff, this is the vehicle that Sean would typically use. We use it to, basically to, get somebody from the plant up into town. Sean would, if he were transporting some kind of hay or that kind of straw or stuff like that in the bed. The bed didn't tend to get used all that heavily, but we've got we had tools to go out and work on meters or that sort of thing. We did tend to use this vehicle to get drive samples to drop samples off at the lab in Kearneysville, or if we had to drop samples up in Martinsburg on a regular basis. So it was general purpose driving around.
But you had said, you don't really, Steve, you had said you don't really need a vehicle like the Ram you could do with a smaller vehicle, right?
Yeah. Yes. I don't feel like given that we have the Chevy, transport stuff, tools or that kind of stuff, we can rely on. Typically, we can rely on the Chevy for that sort of thing. I mean, I picked up water heater at that sort of thing with it. But I could, I certainly could use the Chevy to do that, that kind of infrequent transportation, work. I think, and I will tell you, having driven both vehicles, rather when I'm in and around town, I would much rather be driving something smaller than the Chevy, to get in and around, especially places like Church Street and all the rest. I think that it was used pretty heavily when they were reading meters from the vehicle. I know that was, that would tie it up for at least a week, week and a half. And, when they would drive from meter to meter. We don't do that now. And with the new meters coming in, we'll be doing even less of that. But we do, like I said, we do use it if we're running samples to Martinsburg, or when we run, I should say, not if, but when we run samples to Martinsburg, when we run back T samples over to Kearneysville. Again, I'm having the bed is convenient, but it's not something that I found necessarily has been all that required. Sometimes we'll have a valve shut-off key for valves that deep in the street. Again, that tends to be pretty infrequent, and we normally can address that with the Chevy.
Hey, Steve.
Yeah.
What's the guarantee from cars on this if we spend $4K?
Well, I would, I haven't asked that question in terms of parts guarantee. I would imagine that we would probably get something like 90 days on the parts that they're putting in. That'd be my guess. I would think no more than, a year, but I would think it would probably be 90 days. But then my concern is that it's the parts they're putting in wouldn't be, the next failure. It would be something else, in the vehicle.
Okay.
There is a vapor problem. We've since I've been there, we've got a light, that the gas cap, is loose. So we've got an evap system leak that I don't think they've ever been, either they haven't been able to find, or we haven't really put the money into getting that one resolved. We just kind of deal with supposedly a loose, it's not a loose gas cap, I know that. There's something else in that evaporation control return circuit that
Okay.
that has a problem.
Okay. Based on all that, Steve, and your experience, et cetera, what is your recommendation and why?
I think my recommendation at this point would be probably to investigate whether, what it would cost to replace the vehicle with some kind of something a little bit smaller that has a lower mileage and maybe a better, service.
Not a
performance
Dodge.
history.
Not a Dodge, yeah. Keep away from a Dodge.
Okay.
Okay. I mean, we're getting by right now. We don't have the staff. I'm using my car to get back and forth. And Jacob and Brandy will use the Chevy when they have to come and go.
Okay. Have you done any you said you would investigate the cost to replace the vehicle with something smaller with lower mileage. Have you done any preliminary investigation yet, Steve?
Have I what? Sorry.
Budget and finance address.
Have I done anything there yet? I have not. I have not had an opportunity really to seriously, pursue or look at that. I think first off, I wanted to bring it to, and I guess I started by bringing it to budget and finance just to make folks aware that we do have, we're down a vehicle, and it's going to be some expense, minimum of $4,000 to get the vehicle back, to get us back to another vehicle. And then the question there is, do we just, go ahead and repair it, or do we do the research to decide,
Okay.
do we want to buy something else? And to be honest with you, I have not been in the market to buy a vehicle myself to be able to know whether or not I'm gonna be able to touch anything for less than $10,000 to $20,000.
Yeah.
We could do that.
Okay. Steve, let me bring Storm into this, and then Jesse.
Yeah, so we did discuss this extensively last week, and what Steve is describing was our conclusion that we've all seen this movie before with older vehicles, perhaps Dodges, that were throwing good money after bad. With keeping this going, we discussed a smaller late model, potentially utility vehicle. Jesse had suggested a Ford Maverick, which is a smaller format pickup, so that those occasions when materials still need to be hauled, they could with the open bed. What we did not, we were going to bring this up in the May meeting, Budget and Finance, but we hadn't gone into the finances of what the waterworks could actually spend on this. But the premise of getting something that will be more reliable, lighter duty, that can go up Church Street without gripping the steering wheel and turning your knuckles white, were all desirable things.
Well, actually, we're going to be revising the water budget for the April meeting of Budget and Finance, which will come into council in May.
All right.
Yeah, and it will include.
And I think Budget and Finance essentially was we determined that it was not a good idea to spend more money on the Dodge, and we have to find something else. But the other issue is, what do we do with this one? And I guess we need to call cars.
Well, you all made a motion
Right.
to recommend.
Okay, well, we had to write it down to something we actually did. Yeah, that's right. So the motion is to dispose of the Dodge.
Right.
Investigate purchasing a new vehicle that is lighter duty.
Well, I would just say okay.
Yeah, I got some discussion points too. Is there a second on that motion? Your motion is, make sure I understand, Storm, is to just principally dispose of the vehicle.
That's all right.
Dispose to do the full range from sell, auction, push off a cliff, although we can't do anything illegal.
Abandon it.
There's a cliff we can legally push it off of.
Okay. All right, good.
I think it make a good boat anchor.
Yeah.
Yes, a planter, we can park it in Lower Town.
So I mean, the place where it's at now, because the vehicles are not good, they are constantly cannibalized for parts. So I suspect that cars may very well have an easy solution for disposition.
Okay, Chris, you had a comment?
No, I was going to second.
Okay, motion, Brian, second, any discussion?
I would say in discussion, just dispose of it quickly and just move it on. Don't try to make any money. Just
Get rid of it.
get rid of it. Just get it out of here. Then
Steve,
the next step is the Maverick or something.
Steve, my only discussion, are we on the hook with cars for anything right now?
Diagnostics, probably.
No, as far as I know at this point, Greg, I went by there last week, and they were not in a big rush to get us, to have us get it out of there. I asked about a rental, space rental, and they said, that we don't own the. They're not going to charge me for the diagnostic at this point. So they, at least as of that visit, I was told that, there's nothing they're going to charge me.
Okay.
Up until this point.
Okay. And council, another discussion point for your benefit, under home rule authority, we have the authority to dispose of this expeditiously without having to abide by state code where such things would have to go through an auction, a formal auction. Home rule gives us the authority to circumvent that. Chris?
I'm remembering that there's an ordinance about disposal of income for the town. I'm not remembering the details. Kevin, do you know where that That is,
It'd be on the website.
Yeah, there's something, yeah.
Disposal of town property.
Yeah, it's like all a million signs we're gonna need to replace
Article 114.
someday.
Here it is. This is authorization to convey property to private purchasers without auction at fair market value. The next, corporation may sell its real or personal property value in excess of $1,000 fair market value to private purchasers without public auction, provided the town council has made a factual determination that the property is to be used to facilitate specific economic development projects and or to provide a specific necessary and convenient resource for the benefit of the citizenry.
Well, they're gonna be highly inconvenienced if they don't have water. So I think, making the water company go definitely falls under that benefit to the
Does-
public.
Does the water department fall under this for sure?
Well, the water works as a subdivision of
Okay, I'm just checking.
Well, it's its own company though, too.
What's the date of that ordinance?
Not-
2020.
What is it?
2020.
Okay, so that followed home rule. Now, that's right now, with memory. When home rule was approved, this was one of the issues that were approved in home rule. We had to have a corresponding ordinance to support the home rule decision.
Yeah, and that was on our home rule application in 2015.
Right, correct. Okay, any other discussion? So we have a motion on the floor to dispose of the vehicle as expeditiously as possible.
And
No other
investigate lighter duty vehicle.
Yes. Thank you, Kev. Any other discussion? Hearing none, all those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Okay, we will now go to item number 4, discussion action regarding, which we just did. Now we'll go to 5, discussion action regarding maintenance of mains.
Okay. I have, communication out to Chris Teague, but essentially I have, so with Greenridge, we have a number of things, kind of in the pipeline with them. Certainly, the Gilbert Street project, the meter operation work, which we still have, probably well, I know we have a number of pits setters that we're going to either have to replace or install setters and pits that don't have it. And that is covered under the, as I understand it, covered under the meter project. But I also have some, I've got 3 leaks right now that need to be addressed by them. And one is up on Fillmore Street, across from the Brackett House, the PS Brackett House. And that water is expressing onto the street.
Yeah, I noticed that.
And we've identified the shut off. There are 3 houses that would be involved in a shut off, but it's beyond what we're capable of doing right now without a, by hand or without an excavator because of big stone curb. So that one needs to be addressed. There is a pit on house on Washington Street, and we need to, there's water that's leaking into the pit, an old valve in the pit. That needs to be fixed, as well as the old galvanized service line up to, but not under the new sidewalk. This is in Bolivar on Washington Street. That would, that's the second one. And then the third one is, I've noticed the Potomac Bank, formerly BCT, the BCT, anyhow, the service line there that runs from a valve, where's that, on the, there's a valve in the curbing, not actually in the roadway, but a valve in the curbing, and somewhere that service line, I think, that runs under the new sidewalk needs, I would imagine, is what is causing the problem and needs to be replaced. We're getting water into that pit, not on a extreme level, but definitely is making its way into the pit. It's going to need to be. So I have something out to Chris Teague about getting him in town to get a look at all that. I will say that based off of estimates that he has, I don't have an estimate at this point, based off of estimates that he's given me for work in the past, I would imagine that he would probably give me an estimate that would be, somewhere in the $6,000 to $8,000 a piece for these 3 projects.
Okay. Council?
The one on Fillmore Street is an issue. I've got a call from a resident about the
Yeah,
water. so-
I've ridden through that water too.
I can
Yep.
review the maintenance of
We've-
mains position on renewable.
We've done a little bit of, Jacob's done a little bit of exploration up there. We believe that we've got a, probably it's under a 2-inch, might be a 1-inch. We're not certain. It comes across the street. We've got a valve, and it's leaking somewhere around that valve. That line often goes to, I think, three houses that are actively using it. I think there are 2 houses that sit back on Washington Street. I think this old line used to run back to those properties, but they are those properties are vacant, and I suspect, I hope that this line has been severed or capped and is not running, is not charged much beyond beyond Fillmore Street.
Okay,
Okay.
so, do we need to assign these funds now? Because Deb can look at, we have a few different tools at our disposal for what looks like it could be up to $24,000 for these. Do we need this motion now?
I think we should.
I think, so I can give you a review of where you are with the Renew and Replace Fund and the maintenance of mains funds that have been dedicated to that thus far, and the projection for your end of year. And then you, considering the staffing situation that has been in place since the end of 2025 and until now, and then going forward, I think you can make not only a motion about these particular things, but perhaps a stopgap to assist in assigning work should it come up in the next month or 2, or maybe towards getting you to the end of fiscal 26. So at this point, at the beginning of the year, if you check on the screen up here, we started with 176,000. You spent 49,897 for maintenance of mains work. That leaves us with 126. Minimal contributions into 26 are about 30,000, so that would leave you with a balance of 155. I have not updated the actual balances going in, but anyway, this still gives you a pretty good rough idea. So if you take 24 out of that, let's call it 25, that leaves you with 140, 125. And then if you want to open that number up a little bit, you can. The other thing that we could do as we move forward into the year is, and we'll be revising our budget in Waterworks for the next May meeting, is that you could ask that these bills just be evaluated on a case-by-case basis for whether or not they could be afforded to be taken out of the water revenue fund without overarching negative impact due to your staffing change, right?
But for right now,
Mhm.
just tagging some funds for these projects. And Steve, do you feel like if we topped it up to 30, that would give you latitude at least for the next month or 2 for other projects?
Probably need to go.
Yeah,
It's 35.
there's certainly a few other things that, are sort of patched together right now, but I think that those could very easily be argued that they are pit work. A number of setters that have failed on us, and but those have to be replaced before the new meters go in. So, that would be covered somehow, but could be argued that that could be part of, pit preparation. But I know that with that, we're just kind of moving money around. We're not, it's going to cost.
Okay.
So if you notice up here, there were items on the left there, like the Campground Road, Taylor Road, Murphy Road. Those were all anticipated to be close to $4,000 projects. They were really just either non-issues or pit repair. So all of that together came up to be what is that, like $1,500. So while we have to prepare for it to be much more extensive, frequently they are not. In some cases, here's one that we thought was going to be $5,300. It came up to $9,000. So
Okay, well, it
pretty
sounds,
much right.
for the short term, we can always add more later. I move to assign up to $35,000 from Harper's Ferry Waterworks Renew and Replace for upcoming maintenance of mains projects pending further review by the finance officer.
Is there a second on the motion? Second. Christian, discussion. All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. Last agenda item, discussion action regarding waterworks staffing. I'm going to try to do this in a clear. Did each of you get my email that I sent, that Steve initially sent to Mike, David, myself, and yeah, that was it. So, so Steve's got a vacancy. Obviously, he's got more than one vacancy. And we're trying to get Steve some assistance. He is recommending the hiring of the individual that you have before you. He's currently a Class 1 certified up at Berkeley. Various backgrounds have been done.
Yeah, he's
on him.
Just for the record, he's with Martinsburg.
Okay. Backgrounds have been done, come through clear. Previous supervisor, or current supervisor, it makes no difference really. It recommends the individual. Steve is recommending if this council agrees to hire this individual, he's recommending starting at a Class 1 Step 2 or a Class 1 Step 3. And for your information, currently a Class 1 Step 2 is $21.48. Step 3 is $22.12 under our current. And that will go up maybe about $1 starting in July 1.
I move that we need a motion, right?
Yeah,
Or do we want-
so if any council member are going to make a motion, so you would include a motion either to hire or not to hire, and if to hire, what is your recommended motion for the salary step?
I move to hire this, I don't know,
I wouldn't say it's
You can use the name now.
what is his name?
David Hartman.
I move that we hire David Hartman to work at the Waterworks as an operator Class 1 Step 3.
Okay, is there a second on that motion? Second from Chris, discussion? All those in favor of the motion? Opposed? Motion carries 6-0. We can, Steve, you need to work out, offer the job, get back to us, Debbie, myself, or any member, and let us know whether it was accepted or not, and then work out an entrance on duty.
Okay. And that was Step 3. So Deb, can you just send, I'm getting most of this, but Deb, if you could just send me definitively in an email what I'm authorized to do here, and what the current, you're giving me the stuff for July 1st.
Yeah, I can do it.
Debbie, are we missing anything on this?
Thanks.
I don't think so. Yeah, I can do that, Steve. Yep.
Great, thank you.
Okay.
Okay, and I will contact him and I will extend the offer, and then I'll let you know what he says.
He takes it.
And Steve, has there been any progress on the other position or other
No,
applicants?
I think, right, I think that, we need to, get, probably, renewed or look for more places to put the word out. We have, so with this particular individual, he is class 1. He sat for his class 2 and he has interest in being actually more plant operator than somebody in the field. I've made it very clear to him that this position that I have right now that I'm offering him, because he is class 1, is going to be a field position. However, if he were to, and he is eligible to sit for the class 2 test as early as June, I've told him that I do now have a need for class 2, and if I have not filled that by that point, then if he gets his qualification, then we could look at sliding him in there, and then we're back to finding field people. So right now, I think we should be advertising for class 2, and we should can renew and advertise for field techs, and one of those could be an OIT. One of those, though, I would like someone who has a little bit of skill and knowledge in in the field. But again, we just need bodies right now that we can talk to that have, I can go the range. I can go from someone who's a good worker who can learn to someone with a class 2 certification. So I just think that we need to renew our postings, and because at this point we pretty much exhausted the people that we had spoken to already.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, Steve, let me just say this. You need to contact Mr. Hartman with a job offer. So that's a given. What's not a given in my mind is who has the action and when to expand the hiring radius or organization or whatever. Who's going to take action on that, and when's that going to be done? Because it's really in no one's interest for these open positions to languish. The more they languish, the more your job gets more difficult. None of us around this table want that to happen. So I put it out to the council, and I put it out to Steve. Who's got the responsibility for this, and when is that responsibility going to begin?
Well, I think the first step is to advertise the open positions as soon as possible. We do have the hiring task force that was convened by IOOC that would be able to do that first cut and to do it in an expedited manner.
Okay, somebody needs to get a hold of the IOC chair and make sure that that gets taken care of. Jesse, you had a comment?
Yeah, I do. The problem that we have in hiring isn't so much finding people, it's the process that they have to go through. The process is broken. And, if we can streamline that to get people in here quicker, we can fire them too. If it doesn't work out, we're spending a lot of time looking for the perfect people, and it's dragging the whole thing down. And I don't know exactly what the solution is to that today, but I think we have to address the hiring process. It should not be this. It should be a much.
So, yeah, I think the other thing to keep in mind here is that we're the office staff is also down. With Verlissa, there were a number of things that Verlissa was doing to make a lot of the kind of postings and the coordination, and I think that some of that all that I think was falling on Deb. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think they've fallen in Deb's lap, and without that was without that piece, somebody able to really drive on that piece, then we don't have anybody to interview. Okay. So I'm, kind of speaking out of turn here because that really wasn't something that I was, actively, knowledgeable of or involved in. Melissa just kind of took it and handled it. And, so, I don't want to put words in Deb's mouth, but that's, also something maybe that, we need to kind of cover that, figure out how to, how to cover that space, just to kind of keep this whole process, kind of moving.
All right, Storm?
Yeah, I think that the first go around suffered a little bit from early new councilitis, and also the personnel issue. Once we put it in the hands, it was actually the water clerk that once we had the names of who we wanted to bring in, it happened very quickly. So I think if we get this out, that the names come forward, that it can happen more quickly.
Okay, how are we going to start this process? Are you suggesting that we contact David and start it with IOC, or do you have another process to get this moving along faster?
I believe that the task force is still in play to do this, so I don't think there's a need for it to bounce back to IOC, but that it could just be re-advertised, basically run what had been authorized before, because the mission was not achieved.
Who was the task force?
It was myself, Steve, and
David?
no,
I think Mike Rock was part of that.
Who?
Back right.
oh, Mike Rock.
Mike Rock.
Okay, that's good. Can you advertise farther? I mean, Martinsburg.
Well, I think the time delay did harm it some. Although in many ways this process worked. We added the background check component, and it's a good thing that we did that. So, and that was part of it too. Heretofore, we did not have any process for doing background checks, so that was another delay. So I feel like we have enough machine to get the job right now. It is worth re-examining the process on the whole, but to get someone in the door now, I think if we are able to get, I don't know who in town hall would advertise it, to get a fresh field of folks in, and then to make it a priority to get those people interviewed, and especially for the field tech positions, get some people out in the field.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
This will be quick. Why can't Steve just hire the people he wants? I mean, this is a separate company. We're not hiring them for the company. We're not hiring executives. We're hiring $23 an hour laborers. I mean, and we're putting them through an executive hiring process for a separate company, and I do not understand why.
Okay.
I think if they pass the background check,
Well, you got a background check, and then
that's it.
the town council has to approve any hiring because finances are involved. Okay. Steve does not have direct authority to allocate monies. That resides only with the town council.
And that's in state code.
And let me say, I do not have any kind of problem or difficulty or argument with what Greg just said. Where I feel that we've struggled here is we haven't really had like an owner of this process or this task. Okay, and some of that has been personnel, and some of that is just the way it's structured. But we haven't had an owner to really drive this through and make sure that this that it hasn't kind of stalled out someplace.
Why can't Steve
That,
drive
to
it?
me, that's been my observation in terms of what's been really a challenge with all this. And different members have different roles in all this, but there's the process problem. Seems like we don't really have an owner of the process and someone with enough bandwidth to kind of take that on, to make all that happen.
All right,
And,
so
so that's more the problem, the issue. The other thing we still have to do is we have to notify the people who we did select. Especially if we're still interviewing people, out of courtesy, we still have to notify them. And again, that's something that I think tended to fall to Melissa to kind of close that loop.
Yeah, that's a process issue.
We just are resource constrained right now. In this,
Okay. All right,
this
so,
process.
yeah, Steve, let me just say that I don't care how we get a candidate to town council for approval. I don't care about that. I don't care about the process. I somewhat agree with Jesse's position. Why can't you just do it, or why somebody else? I don't care, but it's got to come before this table, according to state code. We can't delegate that authority to another individual from this council. That authority, financial authority, resides strictly with us. And again, let me just say it again. I don't care how we get the candidate before this body for approval, whether it's coming from you solely, Steve, or, Steve and Jesse and whoever. I don't care, and we shouldn't care. But where our care comes from is the finances, period. And that's where our authority is. So I don't know if that helps anything, Jesse, with your concerns.
Well, we can talk about it because, this is a municipal enterprise. It's not part of the municipality, and West Virginia State Code does break them out separately. And I think, we need to re-examine the separation. It's not fully separated and it's not fully integrated. It can be both or either, but it can't be both. It can be either. And what we're trying to do now is if you look at municipal enterprise code, we're flying right down the middle, and we're going both sides of the code. And I think, it doesn't have to be today, but I think it is something we need to address, is the way that Harper Ferry Waterworks is structured, at this level, at the management level.
Sure.
I agree that there are ways that we can expedite it, but we still need, regardless of where it falls, we still have the responsibility for what happens with our hires, and it's not in the distant past that hiring practices were such that we got really bad results. So I think there's probably something between what we have been doing in this cycle and what happened in the past, where there's still some oversight or consultation level that is happening in hiring, but can empower the TWA to take charge a bit more.
Yeah. It doesn't have to be all the answers, but it's an improvement. Everything improving is the best way for everyone.
Have we looked at the idea of a staffing agency? I used to work for one a long time ago, but it was high-level engineers. But I know a guy down in Augusta County, but he can't help us. But he was just a local little agency, and I'm wondering if there's some around here. I don't know.
Well, I don't think it's a good idea.
And the town has, Kevin knows, we've used hiring agency before with a high degree of success on two positions. I mean, a very high degree. Remember, we filled Catherine so-and-so's position with hiring.
I remember
Kevin,
we did a couple of them.
there were two of them in there, very high. And this was recommended, the hiring agency was recommended by Cox Holiday. And then we took their recommendation, and it worked out real well.
It gives you a chance to look at an employee too, and you got to make sure you have a contract so that at the end you have the ability to hire them.
Yeah.
It'll be more costly, I believe, but I have a hunch you're going to get a better, a higher quality.
I agree. From a resource perspective, beyond money, a tremendous amount of very talented people are working on very simple things like recruiting general labor, and freeing those people up to work on other things is a much better use of resources, and let the professionals who do all this stuff do their jobs. If it costs a little bit of money, we free up a lot of internal expertise that right now is locked up with less weighty things.
And they do the background checks. They do.
Yeah,
They do it.
I assume all that responsibility. Okay, I don't know where we're at, but I think we're ready to adjourn.
Well,
Prior to that storm,
do we want to, I mean, perfect world, there is an agency. Do we want to, plow ahead and get this re-advertised, get candidates in? So I move to re-advertise the open Harper's Ferry waterwork positions as soon as possible in consultation with the Public Works Administrator.
is there a second on that motion? Second from Chris, discussion, all in favor of motion? Opposed, motion carries 6-0. Sorry.
All right,
Before we adjourn, can I, we have, is this the proper place to mention the water control device that's parked up at Ronnie Smoot's? The thing that, is that for, can I at least hit the high point so we're all familiar with it?
Well, I think it needs
This is one from years ago.
putting it on the agenda. but
Yeah, let's
Okay,
put that on
okay.
another.
So, about 5 years ago, just before the pandemic, the waterworks or somebody here in town, the town bought some kind of stormwater diffuser. It's a big concrete thing. It's about the size of a skid steer. And the project changed, COVID came, and it never got installed in the ground. It is currently sitting up in a former Ronnie Smoot's parking lot. He used to be the go-to excavator guy. It's sitting up in front of one of his rental houses, and he would like something done with it. It's monstrous. It's extremely heavy. When they brought it in, it came on a specialized piece of equipment, and so we're going to have to, to get it out of there, we're going to have special equipment. Just let Ronnie try to move it, and with no guarantees that it won't fail or destroy it. So that's what we'll need to discuss, is how we want to dispose of this. But he does want it gone from in front of his rental.
Is it going to be used again?
I caution us from going
Debate.
further.
Deliberation. Yeah. Okay, any other non-deliberative items for the floor?
I'm ready for home weather.
All right, is there a second on the motion to adjourn? All those in favor of the motion to adjourn? Opposed, motion carries